Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing kind of a tag video. I was tagged by Chucky doll to name my top 6 favorite actors of all time. So wow, that's a tough task, narrowing it down to only 6 as opposed to the traditional top 10. So I found it quite challenging, but I did have fun with it, and I hope you guys will have fun with this too. So first off, I'm going to name a couple honorable mentions, people that just barely missed the cut. And that would be Kurt Russell, such a legendary actor. I love his roles in The Thing, of course, Escape from New York, Tango and Cash, and more recently Death Proof from the Grindhouse film. Really enjoyed his performance in that. Next up will be Christian Bale, one of my absolute favorite actors of today. You gotta love him in his role as, of course, Batman, of course, American Psycho, his role in The Fighter, so many great roles. So next up will be someone you might be shocked is not higher and did not make the list. But certainly if this was a top 10, he would make the list, and that is Robert De Niro. So many legendary roles like Raging Bull and Casino, and of course Goodfellas, and of course The Godfather Part 2, Taxi Driver. Yeah, so many awesome roles. It was very, very hard for me to take him off the list, but that makes the top 6 that much more great to me, because I have to admit, this top 6 is people I watch their movies all the time, So I gotta be honest with myself and honest with you guys out there that these are the people I watch their movies the most. So in that number 6 will be Clint Eastwood. Haha, yes. The most badass tough guy in the history of movies to me. I absolutely love his westerns. I love, of course, the Dirty Harry films. Absolutely love the Dirty Harry films. I love his westerns, like Unforgiven, of course. Not to mention he's a phenomenal director as well. But I absolutely love him as an actor, especially in movies like $1 Million Baby. Just an incredible career. Next up is going to be my only horror actor on this list, and that is the legendary Christopher Lee. Absolutely love Christopher Lee, especially for his roles in Hammer films like the Dracula series. Of course, his role in Curse of Frankenstein as the monster. So many phenomenal roles. Is why I just picked up Dracula Prince of Darkness, the Scream Factory Blu-ray. And of course his role in Wicker Man, which is absolutely brilliant. One of my all-time favorite horror films, the Citizen Kane of horror films as they call it, is him in The Horror Express along with Peter Cushing. So another one who just barely would miss the cut. I'm sure he would make my top 10, definitely. Alright, next up is going to be Sylvester Stallone, yes, the king of the 80s action movies. But of course his career began more in the 70s with this absolutely brilliant film that he's most known for, and that is Rocky, and of course the legendary Rocky franchise. Is him in The Expendables. And my favorite action movie of all time, and that is as John Rambo in First Blood. Oh yes. And next up is going to be absolutely one of the greatest actors of all time, and that is Al Pacino. Hell yeah. Love Scarface, absolutely one of my favorite movies of all time. Of course you gotta love The Godfather. Parts 1 and 2 are 2 of the greatest movies ever made. and Al Pacino is a huge part of that. He's brilliant in both films. The third one, he was still good, but the film itself wasn't as good. Even this great romantic comedy I loved him in, and that is Frankie and Johnny. You don't hear that talked about too much. And I absolutely loved him as the devil in The Devil's Advocate. Just an amazing, amazing actor. And, of course, he won an Oscar for Scent of a Woman. Alright, next up is going to be... You might find this is a little bit controversial, but I gotta admit, Tom Cruise. Absolutely love him in Interview with the Vampire, one of my favorite vampire movies of all time, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Love him in The Firm, another excellent thriller. And I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is A Few Good Men. Love his performance in this film, and love the performance of my #1 favorite actor of all time, so this also counts for that, and that is Jack Nicholson. My favorite actor of all time. Here he is in The Departed. I mean, he's just had so many incredible, legendary roles. I just can't say enough about it, and he is one of my absolute favorite films of all time as well, and that is As Good as It Gets, which he won an Oscar along with Helen Hunt. Amazing kind of romantic comedy. And of course, The Shining, probably his most famous role as Jack Torrance in Stephen King's The Shining, of course directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick. I probably have to say that's might be my favorite performance of Jack Nicholson. It's certainly the most famous performance of Jack Nicholson. But yeah, Jack Nicholson to me has the most great performances out of any of the actors on this list. He's just absolutely brilliant. Nobody gets me going as much as Jack Nicholson. He's just so brilliant. He's so funny. He's so charismatic. He's so witty. Just an incredible, incredible actor. He just shows such a wide range of emotions, and there's just nobody like him. There's absolutely nobody like Jack Nicholson. So that's it, guys. That's my top 6 favorite actors of all time. So now it's my turn to tag some people. I'm going to tag Broncojuggalotalksmovies. I'm going to tag Mr. HorrorMetal. I'm going to tag Dave Maggot. I'm going to tag Lisa Loves. I'm going to tag The Last Shoegazer. And I'm going to tag Adam Paul Beaumont. And I'm going to tag someone I haven't tagged in a while, Rusting Willpower. That's right, Shannon. And everybody answer the call and name your top 6 favorite movie actors of all time. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.